Okay, so yesterday I really didn't get anything done. I didn't even open the garage to work on the Rambler. I did go into town. I borrowed a trailer from my scrapyard buddy and started loading up all this junk. There was a pile of metal over here. There's still a pile of metal over there. So one thing I started doing is I cut the middles of the doors out because I plan on using the electric window motors, trying to adapt those to the Rambler doors. So that's what I'm doing, and getting the wiring out of them, and the door locks. I want to try to figure out a way to use the Honda door locks in the Rambler. If not, I'll have 2 keys, whatever. Not that big a deal. So really quick, here it is, late again. I'm gonna cut the middle of the door out, and I'm also saving the weather stripping and the window channel around, because I think for the front windows, because of the goofy shape right there, they're almost backwards. Like if you were to get rid of the wing window there, it looks like a front window. And I think, looking at this, that shape right there, I think if you took the back window here and put it in backwards, I think it would go over there on that front window. So I'm going to save it anyway and try to adapt it. If not, I'll have to buy something down the road. Again, I am broke. So right now, I'm just going to knock this apart and see what happens. Okay, here we got front door motor and regulator, rear door motor and regulator. Now there's a problem. I guess I should introduce it first. I want to put the Honda power windows into the Rambler door. I think it'll be really easy. I mean, this is simple. This is everything. There's no arms. There's no crap, no bullshit, no extra, nothing to worry about. You just have to attach the window track from the Rambler here or here. But here's the problem. The Rambler, as you can see, has flat glass, straight up and down in the tracks. And these are designed for curved glass. And so I'm afraid it might put the glass in a bind as the window motor is moving in and out on the bottom while that is staying rigid. I don't know if it's going to work. The back windows on the Rambler are stupid. They roll down literally between 3 and 4 inches. That's it. And so I was planning on doing all that. And then I discovered the clearance between the top of the wheel well and the top of the quarter panel. I'll show you. So as you can see there, that's the top of the fender well, and that is the top of the quarter. You've got about 6 inches total in order to mount a regulator. Let's see right there. And so, if the window only comes down that far, I mean, a quarter of the way down. And of course, the whole window is only, remember these cars have a very short roof line. The whole window is roughly a foot. So if we can only roll down 3-4 inches, I mean, that 3 inches would be good in a parking situation, but then it's also a pain in the ass to reach back here and roll the window up, roll the window down. So my original thought was to put the power windows in, and maybe if I moved the regulator over, I could put it over here, but then I'd put it in a bind because it'd be pushing on one end. It needs to be in the middle. There isn't really any space for any kind of a window regulator. So okay, then I can just leave the window liners in there. Well, one, I don't know if they even work. Two, one of them is out of this 61 and the other is out of the 62, which means I've got two different window cranks because the 61 had a square shaft and the 62 had a spline shaft. And I don't think the handles look the same. But that's not really the problem. It's just a lot of work for just a little bit of movement. 90% of the time, I'm going to be driving this. But even if we're on a road trip, rolling the window down that much isn't going to make that much of a difference. So I think what I'm going to do is fix the windows in place. So steel will go in there, probably a Honda part, you know, recycled. And I'll push the window all the way up and I'll rig up some kind of a bracket to go between the bottom of the glass track, or the, you know, the little tray that attaches to the regulator. So instead of having a regulator there, it'll have like a piece of angle iron bolted to it, and then bolted either to that or bolted, probably better, to the panel that goes on the inside, which I'll have to reuse. I'll just take the regulator off of it. I think that's what I'm going to do, and these windows will just be fixed in place. I'm not 100% sure. There was a business coupe version of this car. It did not have a back seat. It had a tray, just, you know, panel. I don't know if those windows rolled up or not. I do know that a lot of old cars, business coupes, the back windows didn't roll down. And you can see how high those come. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to fix the windows in place. They're not going to roll up or down. So that gives me a choice on regulators. So this one's much more robust than that one. Obviously the front windows are bigger. Obviously they're going to get used more than the back windows. For my application though, it might be better for me to use the rear one. Now the motor and the gear all look the same. Cable looks the same. It's not any bigger or smaller. It's just the track. And so this is probably the wrong side. Actually, I'm sure it's the wrong side. This is the passenger side, the back window. So the window only goes up and down so far. Again, low roof line. This is where this would attach to this track on the window. So what I would do is bolt the angle iron to that, or just a strap, piece of flat bar to that. And so that would put us there and put the bottom there. So this is plenty long enough to run that window up and down. And I think this, if I wanted to try to straighten it, would, I think you could probably straighten this out easier than trying to straighten this out. And I don't think you're going to be able to straighten them out completely. I think you can get them straight-ish. So here is the front. Actually, that's backwards too. This is passenger side as well. And this is where it attaches. And it attaches kind of weird. I think I could drill that hole out and it'd be okay, but it would drop it down further. So this, you'd be roughly there. And so it'd be quite a bit longer. But there's enough room in that door to have it. And so, regardless of which, I think they would both work. I do need to double check though on the driver motor, because it might be different, being, you know, it has the automatic down, automatic up, where everything else is manual. I don't know, but I'm going to try to see if I can't maybe take some of that bow out of there, straighten them out a little bit and see what happens. Just a little. Anyway, that's where we're at. So I just gave it a try and I had some mild success here. It's a lot straighter than it was. Now, over here at the end, it's still got the curve in it. I'll need to roll this down and kind of work this a little bit. I got to be careful, though, because there's pulleys and stuff here. I haven't even tried that yet. I'm not even going to mess with it tonight, but I think so. I think I can do that. I think I can make that work. Okay, today on Lunchtime Arts and Crafts, we're going to get started on the doors. Specifically, putting the Honda window motors into the Rambler doors and getting me some power windows. It is in the 50s right now. It is a damn nice day. It's too bad I'm here. But, hopefully, the weather's supposed to hold true tomorrow, and then Wednesday it's supposed to switch to rain, and then, Thursday it's supposed to rain. So the temperatures will be decent, but it'll be wet, so I don't know what I'll be able to get done, but hopefully more than what I have been. So anyway, on to this while I still have some time. Okay, so just getting some angles kind of figured out here. And this is an issue. I've only got it held on with one bolt there. Uh-oh. There we go. So, I think this bolted flat's going to work the best, but this motor is getting in the way of the glass. If I can move it way up there, we'd be fine, but there's not enough cable. Okay, so this isn't going quite as smoothly as I thought it would. So last night I just kind of got this tentatively put together, and it kind of works. Maybe. Problem is, there is not enough space in between the glass and the metal for this window regulator. And looking at it, I mean, one, you've got, here's the flat edge of the inside door, but then you've got these panels here that go in deeper, especially this one. And so I didn't really want to do it, but I did cut the middle of the Honda doors out, especially since they were junk. So I could cut this out and weld the Honda stuff in it, and all the holes would line up and everything. But even with that, I don't know for sure that it's all going to work. One big problem, maybe the biggest problem that I'm having, is the motor. So as the window comes down, this, just wherever it's sitting, hits the glass. These cables aren't long enough for me to really go anywhere with it. It needs to be about right there. This really needs to be moved up. But as you can see, it would be right up against this piece, which is kind of where we want it, but still. I mean, this is also to the extreme, outside the glass. There's no room to go back in. So I could get in there and probably flatten this out a little. Or cut and weld it, maybe. But it's really looking like I'm going to need to cut that out and weld the Honda parts in. But that's not really super important at the moment. What's more important is I got to work on the Mazda. Okay, lunchtime arts and crafts has turned into after hours arts and crafts. This I've been playing with here for about, oh, I don't know, about 20 minutes on my lunch break and about 40 minutes here after work. I got my adapter mount, whatever you want to call it, made. So tie the Rambler glass into the Honda regulator. Honda regulator is mostly straightened out. I still need to play with the angles of it a little bit. Like this is touching the glass. So if I had it tinted, it would scratch the ever-living crap out of it, which means that this back here needs to be spaced out up to an inch, probably more like half an inch. So, you know, I get longer bolts, and then I can put a bigger nut in there. Should be enough to space it. Here, you know, I have drilled the spot welds, popped this off, and modified it, flattened it out, and it's too much. I think I need, like, it hits now. It hits the, I don't know what you want to call this, the cartridge. Yeah, so you can see it there. It hits there. So I think what I'll do is weld a nut, or not a nut, but a bolt, a short bolt, to the regulator here, drill a hole, and then I can put a nut down in this little recess here. I think that'll be okay. I need to clean this hole up, and then I'm just going to plate it. I need to, basically, I'm going to cut this out right here and weld the Honda unit in so the motor is mounted. As you can see right here, oh, that's a problem. The motor, the cables are hitting the adapter I made, so even if I trim that a little bit, it's not going to buy me very much. So, I mean, I could come down on the regulators some, I think, but I think I've already got that set up to roll up. So let's give that a try here real quick and see how well it works. It didn't sound great, but remember, I've got no rubber here. I've got no, whatever. Let's just see how it works. Okay, well, a second ago it worked a lot better. What is it hung up on? There we are. So, as you can see, I think we're topped out. So I think that's as low as this regulator can go. I don't think there's any more there. I don't think I can move it anymore. So I will have to get in here and figure that out. I can figure out this motor. One of the problems is you can't really do anything with the motor. The cables are very short. Like if the cables were long enough, you could put the motor over here. That'd be awesome. It'd be away from it. But as it is, it's right next to it. And a big part of that problem is because it's sat at an angle in the Honda. But even so, it was still there with the glass. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and unbolt the motor and see what I can do with it. Now, I got the motor just kind of laying in there, so I don't know if that's a good idea, but let's see what happens. That's what happened. Oh, yeah. See, the window is actually hitting the edge of the regulator here, or it's hitting this rod, which actually runs the door latch. So, again, these bolts are very long. So I need to trim those. Whoops. That's too much, because now the window's stuck below the below decks. So gotta fix that. Okay, got it marked. Stop. Just a tiny bit below it, but if I went any further, it'd drop back below it. Let's see if it goes up. Here we are. just a minute ago. It worked great. Okay. So it looks like the glass is slipping out of the track over there. Why? I'm not sure. There. So, let's see now. Works great. Works great. Okay. Now we can't go up. I mean, maybe we could. I don't know. But we have to figure out something with that motor. And I got to figure out why the hell the window track keeps popping out of that window track. And now we are on the stop. It's out of that track again. Okay, so we'll figure that out. I'm gonna wrap this up and head home. Lunchtime arts and crafts. Okay, so I've gotten this thing figured out a little bit better here. I got these longer bolts and I got spacers, which right now is just a piece of, fuel hose. I'm gonna use different bolts, something with a flatter head. But up here, this bolt head and washer are the perfect spacing for this. So it's gonna get welded to that. I need to power this up and move it down so that the heat isn't going to melt anything. I've already got it marked right there. This is what the original bracket was. It was identical to this one. You see how tall that comes? Well, I did shorten it, but now here in the corners, it hits the cartridge here. And so that wouldn't work, but this will work. I just checked it all out. If I had everything adjusted over to that side, it'll go up and down just fine. Otherwise, the glass was hitting this bolt inside the track because there's no rubber in there. There is still some rubber out here, but that's all gonna get replaced. So hopefully this thing will work perfectly as is, and then when I put the rubber in, it'll probably not work as well. Part of the problem is this little bitty wire here doesn't carry any current, but it should work regardless. So I'm gonna go weld that on here, and I'm just about out of time, so I'm gonna hurry. All right, ran into a problem here. I got this welded. I got these spaced. On the other door, I think it'll be up against this, but I'll still have to have clearance for this, so I may just have to cut two, probably half-inch slits in it instead of cutting all this out. The problem I noticed I ran into was that this was catching on one of the cables. And so right now I just got them kind of zip tied out of the way, and this is obviously really temporary. I'll have to get some kind of a hanger. I've actually got some of those ones that are vinyl coated. I think they might clear. I'll have to double check. If not, then I'll rivet a piece of strap in there, whatever I have to do. But as it is right now, it clears. I just need to get this bolted to the glass track there, and we'll see how it works. All right, lunchtime arts and crafts. Continuing on with the power window swap. I got the window channel run. This is a kit I bought off eBay that was supposed to do both front doors of a Toyota pickup. And it is the right width. It is a little shallow for the Rambler doors, but the stuff that's correct for this is basically about $100 a door. So it's not gonna happen. I don't have that much money. So as you can see, this is kind of, it's not real deep in there, but it's deeper in there than it should be. I don't care, I can live with it. The problem is it's too wide to fit in there. I need 7/16 strip, so I'll have to buy a $50 piece, it's 6 foot long to do that on both doors. But we're not gonna worry about that right now. Right now, what we're doing, I've got this kind of marked. This is the inner part of the Honda door. And in the Honda, this would have been the bottom edge of the door, and everything kind of went at an angle, which won't work in this car. So this is, where is the bolt? There it is. So there's that and that. So that's where we're at there. And so that's where this needs to sit, because that's where the motor is. So I'm going to cut that out, and then I'm going to put it on the motor and make sure that where it sits isn't going to interfere with any electronics. So right now, this window is sitting at the bottom position. Well, it's about a 1/4 inch high, but it needs to sit there, because any further down, then it'll get stuck behind the door. So here it'll be sitting at the rubber. And one problem I did figure out when I rolled the window up, it wasn't going into the seal, and it turned out it's because it had bottomed out here. It's the track is actually too low. So what I can do is drill the holes here about 1 inch down, and that will raise the window up, and then that way it won't bottom out there. And then when all that's said and done and everything works fine, then I'll come through here and I will make a stop that will stop this from going too low. I'll have to be careful though, because the motor sits right there, and you don't want to go any lower than that anyway, because it'll hit the motor. So that's the plan. Get this cut, get it attached to the motor, make sure it fits, and then cut out the door and just tack. I'm going to tack weld it, because I have my flux core. I don't want to use the flux core to weld the whole thing. I just want to tack it in place, and then I'll weld it in place with the real welder. And then that's pretty much it as far as this goes. You could call it figured out. Like yesterday, the window's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down. It's not jamming. It's working just the way it should, even with those tiny little wires. So after this, I can jump on the other door and start doing everything there. I just have to recreate this piece. Again, I gotta modify it first. I gotta build the stop. I still have the original Rambler stop, but I don't think it's gonna work with all this, so I'll come up with something new. But for now, I'm gonna get started on cutting that out. All right, let's give this a try. Oop, got caught on the cable. Okay, so we definitely gonna have to make sure those don't get caught. Oops, too far. It's got a magnet in it. Okay, what's going on now? I still need to re-drill that plate. Well, so that is right up against the cable. I don't think it's going to really hurt anything, because this is actually farther down than it needs to be. It needs to be roughly there. Okay, so that's flush. And you can see it's just barely touching that. Now, I do need to, well, I think that'll be all right. What's it catching on? It is catching on the cable, of course. So we need to hook the cable to there and go grab a zip tie. Alright, got the zip tie on there. That's just temporary. Let's see what happens here. Oops, too far. Too far. Oh shit. Don't want to break the glass. Okay. I gotta remember to watch that. Alright, let's see if it works now. Alright, that worked. One more time. Gotta make sure that it doesn't catch, it just barely catches the cable there at the end, which is good, it's fine. And as it goes up, it's not catching anywhere going up. Okay. Alright, so all that's left to do is unbolt that, re-drill it, and re-drill it farther down there. That way it'll push the glass up a little bit further, because the alternative would be re-drill all these, and there really isn't anywhere to do that. This needs to be welded, but we're going to save that for later with the real welder. I just went ahead and used the flux core on all of this, and it actually came out okay. It should be okay. I didn't notice it flexing any when I was cranking the window up and down. It's not moving anything at all. Okay, see here I can get to all that. But lunch break is over, so I need to get back to work. That's it for this right now. Maybe after work tonight I'll work on it a little bit more. Hello people. So this next video, some of the clips you guys have probably seen before, because I started on the door quite a while ago, and I just been working on it here and there, usually on my lunch break at work or a little bit behind or after work. And so I'm at a point where the passenger door is pretty well done. I still need to weld up some of the cuts so they don't turn into cracks, and I need to still put in that piece of 7/16 channel run, and then I think it's pretty well ready to go. Down the road, I'll probably explore the door locks, but since I don't have a central locking fob, I'm not going to worry about that right away. I do know that there's really no way to connect the window actuator or the lock actuator to the inner door lock, because that's part of the actual door handle. It doesn't have a little button sticking up or anything. It's you, instead of pulling the handle back to open the door, you push it forward and that locks it. So that wouldn't really be something I could tie onto, but I could tie onto the key from the outside and probably make it work, but then I'm not sure where I'd mount the actuator. I may have to mount it outside of the glass and build some kind of a bracket, which might be more involved than power locks are really needed. I mean, I can use a key to unlock the door. But passenger door is basically ready. And then I can go and, with what I've learned, install the driver door a little more refined. Again, we're not anywhere near needing the doors on the car. I haven't touched the car in 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe, because of the weather mainly. We've had a lot of really bad storms out here over the last couple months. We actually had a tornado go by about 15 miles south, 17 miles south of here. It was just right outside of Alva. My coworker was sitting on his back porch filming it. It was that close. So yeah, I mean, I can't work on this thing in the rain. I can't leave it out in the rain. Even I left it out, the last time I worked on it, I left it out for the week, and it didn't rain, but there was enough dew that it didn't make some flash rust. What I have been doing this 3 weeks is cleaning up the yard. So I got rid of the 61 Rambler carcass. I got rid of the 62 chassis. And then this week I spent the time gathering up the scraps, the unusual scraps or unusable scraps, getting them on my buddy's trailer, getting it hitched up and ready to go. So I'm going to be leaving here pretty soon, about an hour early, hour and a half early, so I can take back roads, dirt roads to his shop, his yard, just in case, you know, his trailer's in really, really bad shape. I don't want to blow a tire, and then I don't want to risk having scrap falling off on the road, so we'll just take it slow and easy. And I'll use the Mazda to pull it. I think it'll be okay. So yeah, that's where we're at on that video. Sorry for the lack of content, but you know, I can tell you this week, last week as well, or at least half of last week, I just was not in any kind of condition to do anything. So hopefully they'll get that figured out pretty soon. But I've been saying that for the last 3 years. Nobody knows what the hell it is. Anyway, enjoy, like, subscribe, please, and we will be back next week. Hopefully, next week what's going to happen is I'm going to swap places between the Cricket Wagon and the Rambler. I'm going to put the Cricket Wagon over here in this carport. I'm going to put the Rambler in the garage. I'm going to have to do a bunch of cleaning up in the garage. And then I'll be able to work on it in the rain because I'll have a little more room to work on it. Plus the concrete floor is a lot better because dragging that welder through the dirt just sucks. So that'll be probably the primary focus of next week, is getting these things moved around. Some more cleanup over there, but definitely not exciting content, but it's something. But anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Take care.